Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's me, it's Snadder. I stream on Twitch Monday to Friday, 6 p.m. CET. And today is Saturday. And Saturday is a day where I'm gonna be posting videos to YouTube. Where the only thing of value I can actually share with the world is video games. That's all I know. That's all I know. So that's what I'm gonna be doing. And today's topic is gonna be Breath of the Wild. And what I think. So Breath of the Wild is one of my favorite games of all time. At the same time, though, that game has so much unused potential, in my opinion. And, well, it's still one of my favorites, but it could have been so much more. I'm going to be discussing that, what I feel that that game lacked, what that game could have been. And I'm also going to be discussing Breath of the Wild 2, my general wish list for Breath of the Wild 2, and what I think the developers can learn from Breath of the Wild 1 going into Breath of the Wild 2. And this is coming from a guy with 270 hours in Breath of the Wild 1, so I feel like I have a lot to add to the topic. Anyway, let's jump straight into the video, as all the YouTubers say. So let's start off with what I really enjoy in Breath of the Wild. The most obvious one being the world itself. The open world of Breath of the Wild, which I also feel like is the main character of Breath of the Wild. It is so much interesting stuff to explore in that game. I remember my first playthrough. You walk around and then shit, in the distance you see something super cool, right? And you start heading over there. And on the way over there, you stop because you see something else over there. And then shit, you walk over there, and then on the way over there, you see something else over there. And then you stop, and then you're back, you're walking in circles. And then you're back to square one, and then you didn't really get anything done. But you saw a lot of cool things on the way. And it's all about the journey, right? And that's what I think Breath of the Wild is really good at making you feel. The other thing is how you can tackle all objectives in any order that you want. As soon as you're done with the tutorial, because you need to do the tutorial, you can do everything. You can do the Divine Beast. Hey, you don't even have to do the Divine Beast. You can go straight for Hyrule Castle and defeat Ganon. It's gonna be hard, but hey, speedrunners do it all the time. You can do all the shrines, you can do whatever. Hey, it's cool. And also the third thing is gonna be how you traverse the world, which is that you can climb everywhere, glide everywhere. It's a fun world to traverse, and the pros, when I put them together like this in a video, it doesn't seem really that much. But all of these three things, they add up to 270 hours, which I have in Breath of the Wild, and I don't regret playing that much because I've had a good time. But when you make a video like this, and I'm really gonna be explaining the cons are gonna be much longer. So it's gonna be, this video is gonna seem really negative, but let me just remind you that Breath of the Wild still, even with these cons, is one of my favorite games of all time. So just think about how good this game could be if they managed to turn these cons into pros in Breath of the Wild 2. So let's jump into the cons, alright? So, cons in Breath of the Wild. Let's start with the obvious one, the world. So the world is super interesting, and the world is super good. But when you play for a couple hours and you're over this like, oh cool, new, shiny, new game, right? When you're over this thing and you actually start to understanding what's going on, every time you actually reach that interesting objective, it's just gonna be a shrine. And shrines are super cool. Until they get super boring. Because there are 120 of them. And whatever you find out in the world, whatever interesting thing you find out in the world, whatever it is, it's always, the reward is always gonna be a shrine. And that is that is just a missed opportunity. Like, what the heck? Why can't there be some cool little like mini dungeon? Why can't there be like mini bosses? And hey, Stone Talus and whatever the hell, the Hinox, I mean, who cares, right? That's 2 of them. Also, enemy variety. What is up with that? There's like 4, probably 5. I don't remember. It's horrible. It's such a big world and there's nothing in it. There is, but at the same time there isn't. Because when you understand, if you have, say, there's 120 shrines in this game, and say you get 20 of them, and then you understand shit. I just did so many cool things. Now I see that if I go over to that super cool thing in a distance, it's just gonna be a shrine. When you sort of think about the game like this, It takes away from the wonders of exploration. It's like, oh shit, I see this cool thing in the distance. It looks so cool. I want to go see it, but it's just gonna be a shrine, so who really cares, right? That's why my 50 first hours, like the first hours of playtime I had in Breath of the Wild, it's one of the best games I've ever played. Then it probably was the best game I've ever played because I didn't know what was gonna be in the distance. I didn't know what all these cool things was gonna reward me with. But after I started to understand the game from a more technical standpoint, I guess technical, when I started to understand that everything is just gonna be a shrine, and no matter how many cool weapons you find out in the world, they're just gonna break. Who really cares? Like, weapons are cool, and I remember the first time I got oh shit, a Sora Spear, oh shit, a big greatsword, oh, a Dark Knight sword, whatever they're called again, it's been a while. Like, cool, but when you sort of get into this, oh, it's just gonna break, who cares? So, also the dragons, or the guardian deities, or whatever they're called again, that's such a missed opportunity. What the hell? What in the act? That's one of the coolest things you find in the game. It's like you play, and then suddenly there's a big dragon and this cool music, and it's such a cool thing to see. And then all it is just to get material to upgrade your armor. And upgrading your armor in this game is just doesn't even feel worth it. It just feels super weird. It doesn't feel worth it. Like nothing really feels rewarding in this game. It feels good to play. It looks beautiful, but when you sort of think about it like this, it doesn't feel rewarding, right? And the other thing is that the Divine Beasts, while cool the first time, they're really short, and I really miss dungeons. I want dungeons. You know, when you have 120 shrines, and you go for the last one, and you go into this, I don't remember the name of it, when you go into this ravine, and all of the guardians and shit, and there's a super cool place, and you can only enter this place, like, deep underground, and it's a big, like, cave system and stuff, and there's guardians everywhere, and you have to run past all of them, and it's really interesting, and you can only enter if you have 119 shrines. But when you get to the end of that tunnel, the reward is just another shrine. Sure, you get the hero armor, or the hero tunic, but it's just another shrine. And that sucks. That really sucks. And also, side quests. 90% of them, or even 95% of the side quests in this game, are just stupid fetch quests. There's nothing, there's no substance to these quests. You have the Tarry Town quest, which is okay. It doesn't really add any cool story. It doesn't really add a lot to the game. I know a lot of people like the Tarry Town quest, but the reason why a lot of people like the Tarry Town quest is because all the other quests are so bad in comparison that that's the only one that seems halfway decent compared to the other ones. I think Tarry Town is okay. But compare Tarry Town quest in Breath of the Wild to something like Andrew Cafe Majora's Mask, and you can see how bad this actually is. Oh god, I hate the side quest, and I did every single side quest, and I didn't like a single one. Tarry Town was okay, I guess, whatever, but no. And most of the cool ones, when you read sort of the quest text and you see the objective, you're gonna go into this, you're gonna go and find this ancient thing or whatever, but it's just a shrine, so who cares, you know? And when you come back, you get a rupee or you get an apple or whatever, and it doesn't really count. And also the same thing with like the cooking thing, like getting like like yeah, cooking in general, and all the materials and ingredients you find around the world. Nothing really means anything. Like, you can use them when you're early on in the game, but as you progress, like when you're like midway through the game, you don't really need anything anymore. You're just freaking powerful. You don't need anything. Like that's what I really miss. There should be systems in place there where when you get to a certain point in the game, it doesn't just render everything useless. Like, all systems in this game are useless when you're halfway through the game. and then you don't really need anything anymore, which kind of sucks. I feel like every system should sort of grow with you in strength, but they can't really do that either because there's no enemy in the game aside for, I guess, the Linuxes. Linux? Whatever, I don't remember. What are they called again? Whatever. The lion thingies. Like they're kind of tough, but they're not really. If you understand how to beat them, that's not really tough. Anyway, they can't really. The systems in this game can't really grow with you because the enemies are still. They're not growing with you, so they're just gonna be even. The game is gonna be even easier at that point. So, I don't know. There's so many missed opportunities everywhere. So I can say a lot more here. I can say a lot more, but my third part of this video is going to be what I feel that Breath of the Wild 2 can learn from Breath of the Wild 1, and my general wish list from Breath of the Wild 2. What I wish the game can do, and there's still a lot more cons with this game. It's not really cons, but things I wish the game had, which I feel like would make the game better. But I'm going to save that for the next part, which is what I hope they include in the next one. So let's get over to that. Alright, so Breath of the Wild 2. What do we know about Breath of the Wild 2 so far? We know that it's in development. We know that it's gonna take place in the same world. At least from the trailer, that's what we get from it. Like, we see like the Hyrule Castle is levitating, or it's rising up. And then we see the same world. So it's probably gonna take place in the same world. And we see that we're sort of underground, and we can probably think that that's underneath Hyrule Castle, like underneath the Calamity. We can also see like the corpse of the actual Ganondorf, and then we can sort of understand that, I guess, the Calamity Ganon was sort of Malice rising up from the corpse of Ganon. So that means that the place where in the trailer where they find Ganondorf is directly underneath where you actually fight the Malice Ganon, or whatever he's called again, like the boss before the Beast Ganon. So, and then he wakes up, and then it's gonna take place in the same world. So hopefully it's gonna be more, and this is good. This is good because first of all, what we can take away from this is that the story is gonna be taking place there and then. It's not gonna be memories for what happened 100 years ago. Like, the story in Breath of the Wild is interesting, but who gives a shit? Because it happened 100 years ago. All the interesting characters died 100 years ago. Who cares, right? None of them matter because they're dead, and they have been for 100 years. But here they have the opportunity to introduce characters that's actually alive, who's gonna be able to interact with Link on their journey, and Zelda. It's gonna be interesting, and I hope they really do something cool with Ganon, and I hope they really manage to build a interesting story, because Nintendo's philosophy on games in general is that make a fun game first, and then they add the story on top of the already fun and polished game. But the thing is that from Breath of the Wild #1, the development of that game was building the entire world, building the physics engine, building the mechanics, building the systems. Going into Breath of the Wild 2, all of that is already done. They already have the shell of the first game, which they can copy-paste into the next game and just keep adding. So the story can actually be something really interesting going into this game. Hopefully, right? Hopefully, if we can sort of see how Nintendo has been doing things in the past and add it to how hopefully they're gonna do it in this game. They have the systems, they have the physics engines, they have the world. Hopefully they add more land masses and add more, maybe verticality. You can already climb up, but maybe they add more like cave systems underneath Hyrule, so it's more to explore there. So yeah, I hope that's the thing that's gonna happen. Also, let's go into sort of my wish list in general for Breath of the Wild 2. So the first one, the obvious one, that probably everybody's hoping for, is dungeons. Have dungeons, right? We need dungeons. We need a forest temple, we need a fire temple, we need a water temple, we need maybe a shadow temple, like a ghost temple, whatever. We need temples. We need interesting temples. I miss this. We need interesting temples with interesting atmosphere, with interesting diverse and different aesthetics that's gonna set them all apart. What did Breath of the Wild have? If you're standing in one of the divine beasts and you're sort of like just looking into a wall, right? That's all you see. You just see the interior wall of the divine beast. Can you tell them apart? No, you can't. If you stand in one of the dungeons in, say, Ocarina of Time, Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, Majora's Mask, whatever, and you stand and you just look at the interior wall, can you tell them apart? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Can't do that in Breath of the Wild, though, because they all look the same. They all look the same. We need some more. We need more, right? Hopefully do that. Number 2, enemy variety. I don't know. I can't really. That's all. Enemy variety. Give us more. More bosses. We have 2 bosses in Breath of the Wild. The first boss is the same boss 4 times in each of the Divine Beasts, with some added phases here and there. That's it. And then we have Malus Ganon or Malus or whatever he's called again, like the main boss of the game. And then we have Beast Ganon. Beast Ganon doesn't count. Beast Ganon is just a victory lap. Beast Ganon is not a boss. It's just a victory lap. If you beat the Malus Ganon, game is over. Nobody loses to the Beast Ganon. Here's another thing I want. Like I like the like is a strong word in this case. The weapons breaking. I thought they were okay because that means that you're playing like a survival game at that point. Weapons breaking was fine. It was fine. It wasn't perfect. It was fine because that means that you use weapons and you can throw them right before they were about to break to do a critical attack and stuff like that. But it wasn't. It still was kind of shitty though, because when you get a cool weapon, I didn't want to use it. I never used it. I just hoarded it forever. I never used it. That was it. So what I hope they do in Breath of the Wild 2 is when a weapon breaks, it doesn't disappear. It is unusable. It is unusable until you repair it. And how you repair it is you go over to a town and then interact with a blacksmith, and then the price for repairing it is going to depend on what the rarity and the strength of the weapon is going to be. That's how you do that. And the second part is I thought of maybe if to add more interesting things to get out in the world, maybe say one of the chests out in the world is gonna have a blacksmith hammer, and the blacksmithing hammer can repair 20% of durability of one of the weapons. Something like that. Just add more items, add more. Just don't add more weapons that can break and they don't add anything to the game. Doesn't feel rewarding in that case. Add more things that's gonna keep system in check and that's gonna keep us playing, and add more variety and rewards. So that's one way I thought of, like, keep the weapon breaking system. It's good, just add more to it. Make it actually interesting. It doesn't disappear. You still have the weapon. You just need to repair it, either by interacting with a blacksmith or using a blacksmith hammer. Something like that. I hope they do that. Another thing I thought of is adding more interesting things to, like items and stuff. You know how when you climb on surfaces when it rains, you slide down. What if in some part of the world, like some hidden part of the world, there's a cave that's super secret, and there's a hard challenge there and a hard mini-boss, and when you beat him, you get climbing tools, right? You get climbing tools, and the climbing tools can be upgraded, so they will let you climb on like rainy surfaces, like slippery surfaces, and then when you upgrade them even more, they will let you be able to climb on ice surfaces, something like that. Just add more, because when it rains and you're trying to climb, and you're climbing like a super long wall, right? And then you get halfway through it, halfway up, and you've been climbing for 2 minutes, and you still have 2 minutes to go, and then it starts raining, and then you just fall, right? That's not fun. That's not fun. It just adds tedium. Like, it's an interesting system. It's interesting that you need to be wary of the weather. It's interesting and all that shit. But it gets super tedious after the 100th time that you experience this. It's just tedious. So, sure, you need to be able to deal with the weather for the first parts of the game. But then as you progress and get to the mid stages of the game, you have your climbing tools. You don't have to deal with that shit anymore. Now there's an interesting system in place that's gonna keep growing with you, because next part of the game is gonna be some icy terrain or something like that. And then you need to upgrade it to be able to climb. Not be able to climb, you can still climb it, but to make it more convenient for you. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, you should still be able to do everything in which order you want to do them, but you should be able to upgrade stuff and upgrade parts of the game to make them more convenient the more you play, right? When you have all the hearts in the game and you have done when you have 100% completed a Breath of the Wild save, and you're just the most powerful boy in the world, and you still slide down from slippery walls because it's raining. Why doesn't he like stick his sword in the like, they will break anyway. Just stick your sword in the wall and keep climbing with your sword. Who cares? They're gonna break anyway, right? Do something like that. Do something. What else? And then of course side quests. I've already touched on side quests in the last part, but just give us NPCs that are on schedules. Give us, because Breath of the Wild works on a night and day cycle. And so give us NPCs with schedules, give us NPCs with timers, give us NPCs that go out in the world and do something, like Majora's Mask. That's sort of what I'm getting at. Like, do that. Because like I just said, Breath of the Wild 1, the development time of that game was physics engine. They used a lot of time on developing the systems and the physics engine and how things will interact with, like how you shoot an arrow in the grass and the grass will raise wind, and then you like all the system, all the interactiveness of the game. They used a lot of time to make all of those parts work together. But that's done. They already have that. And they use so much part that, like, that's probably the reason why so many of the parts of Breath of the Wild 1 feels really underdeveloped, because they use so much dev time on making all the other parts that are really good. But as I've been saying, since they already have this, there's so much potential there, and I really hope they learn and do this. And this is. This is the one they just can't mess up, and it's the story, the main story. They just can't mess that up. I touched on this, like, I have already touched on this like a little bit, but just don't mess up the story. Please do not mess it up again. Like, the story, as I've said, it's cool. The cutscenes are cool, but nothing feels immersive because all the cutscenes happened 100 years ago. All the characters are cool. Everything is super cool. They did a good job, but everything happened 100 years ago. They're all dead. It doesn't matter. It's all done. Like, there's no stakes there because it's all happened. All Link has left to do is to try to save the world after it already got destroyed, right? All of his friends, all of his companions, they're all dead. He just has memories of them, and they sort of give, like, well, you know what I'm talking about, right? I hate it. I absolutely hate it. And now I hope they give him some companions, and I hope they think of a good story here, and they hire some actual dedicated writers for Breath of the Wild 2. And I don't really know. There's probably more I can add here. There's probably more that I'm not thinking of. I have like a couple notes there, but they're scrambled, and I have a really hard time like seeing what's actually being written there. So I'm just gonna close this down. Who cares? But in general, these are all my points. These are, like I said, there's probably more, but I'm probably been rambling for long enough already. So this boy is gonna probably end the video here. So yeah, that's my little ramble. And as I said, I still love Breath of the Wild. It's a fantastic game to play. But it could be so much better. It could be so much better. And let me just say that Breath of the Wild 2, if it completely misses the marks on all of these, like, at least get some of them right. At least get some of these, just to know that you sort of learned from the underdeveloped parts of the first one. Just get some of these right. You don't have to get all of them right, but get some of them right. If Nintendo like misses the mark completely and don't get any of these points right, I'm gonna be so disappointed. Like, honestly, I'm gonna be disappointed in Breath of the Wild too. That's probably gonna be the first Zelda game that I'm actually disappointed in, because most of them have been. But even Breath of the Wild, it's super good. I love it. My favorite Zelda game is Wind Waker, followed by probably Breath of the Wild and then Ocarina of Time and then Majora's Mask. But yeah, yeah, that's it. I think that's it. So hey, let me just close off the video by saying that thank you for watching. I stream, as I've said when I started this video, I stream Monday to Friday, 6 p.m. CET. The schedule is probably gonna change in the coming months or weeks, and I stream a wide variety of games. I stream, at the moment I'm handling Cuphead for the first time, and I'm also playing Dark Souls 1 Remastered Randomizer with a use what you get challenge, which is super fun. That's what I'm handling at the moment, and soon it's gonna be Ori and the Will of Wisps, and I haven't completed the first one, the Blind Forest, so I'm gonna be playing both of the games like back to back. So I'm gonna be playing that one and jump straight into the sequel, and gonna be a good time. So if you wanna catch one of my streams, hey, come say hi. I would appreciate it. Like all the information is down in the description below, which all of the YouTubers say on this video side. Hey, I'm learning. Down in the description below, and subscribe and comment and give me a kiss and like. See, I'm learning. I know how the YouTube game works. I watch YouTube, and I can copy others. Hey, that's it. Anyway, thank you for watching. New videos, like VODs, I'm uploading from my Twitch. I'm uploading kind of on a regular. There's no real schedule to that, but these videos, which are specifically for YouTube, are gonna happen at least for the moment. Maybe I'll do it more frequently in the future, but at least for the moment, they're gonna be uploaded every Saturday. So yeah, I don't really have a release frame time window on Saturday, so it might be Friday or Sunday depending on your time zone, but for me it's gonna be Saturday. So anyway, thank you for watching. I'm sorry for rambling the fuck out of your mind, but I have a lot to say about video games. I'm really passionate about video games, and I hope we can have some interesting discussions either on my stream or down in the comments below on video games in general. Thank you for watching, and peace out, my boys. Peace out.